My name is Kain Walker. I was a rooster-fighting champion until reaching old age and losing my last battle, which gave me a bum leg. I paid to have myself frozen until they'd figure out how to cure my irrational hatred towards young people. But something went wrong. I was thawed out prematurely, and I found myself waking up to a world enraged, ruined by the juveniles. There was only one way to fix this, and only I knew the answer. It was time for a total, unadulterated fanny whipping.
Yo dudes and dudettes, this is Ketchu, and this is how I beat up Fallout 4 with only a walking cane. I like to keep the rules simple, because I'm a simple guy. The walking cane will be the only weapon that I'm allowed to use as an instrument of damage. Special stats incoming. Strength 9 for rooted, that's how old people are. Perception is going to stay at 1. Once again, old. Endurance 9. Old school folks are resilient. Luck 5 for idiot savant. That's right, I'm a musclehead. Going to be keeping that intelligence as low as it can go. Complementing my idiocy. Making that sweet 3 times XP trigger more often. And the rest goes into agility. Just like expired frozen vegetables, I emerge from the freezer, ready to ruin someone's meal. I started wobbling my way out of the vault, inspiring my stiff knees to circulate blood again. Like any other vault of its time, I was soon confronted with rat roaches. If you don't find these awful cuties in your bunker during your first 10 minutes, ask for a refund. I did the old run around screaming tactic while locking the doors behind me, waited in sneak mode by the door, provoking arthritis.
This is the only time I'm going to crouch. My knees can't take any more of this.
Until the antagonistic arthropods forgot my existence. Outside the vault, I zoomed into Sanctuary, ignored God's word, and ingested a special book, reinforcing my body composition with its fibers, bulking up that endurance. My diet isn't that good. After hiding my stuff under the mattress, I tempoed my pedaling limbs into the wasteland, discovering locations on the way, and it was at Starlight Drive In, where I pissed off some mole rats. Fun fact about these hairless freaks, they don't give up easy. With their physics-breaking ability to faceplant the ground to teleport, they kept tailing me all the way to Mystic Pines retirement home.
I never wanted to see this place again.
I rummaged through the place, looking for a walking cane for obvious reasons, figuring an oldie home if any would be the place to discover one. No such luck. I did find a magazine that looked the way I feel on the outside. And just like first time, Mystic Pines didn't hold me back for long, before I escaped into the wilderness again. Luckily, I know this game like the back of my hand, and by digging through the memories posted in the wiki, I knew exactly where to go next. While my nose was already pointing towards the pin on my compass, I had to return to take care of some unfinished business. The flowers on a grave needed to be appropriated, because you don't get to have nice things with me around, even if you're dead. I also tried stealing the plastic bird, but I guess that was asking too much. Towards deeper south, I stopped to look at the Mirelurk's nest. Got to see Radical Stack Doe being hunted by raiders up close, and dodged a super mutant with an explosive personality who went Nagasaki on his own somewhere. I also tried to avoid feeding some doggies, like I'd avoid any social situation, by running away. Making a pit stop at Bunkerhills, I got to observe a totally ordinary Commonwealth conversation.
Caravan or raider?
I'm here on my own.
Couple of stone throws away further south, I disgraced Charles' View Amphitheater with my manly musk. This is where I unlocked my true power. Ignoring everyone, I speedily bumbled my way into the living quarters, snagged 2 walking canes, and went back to Sanctuary for some upgrades. After inserting spikes into my support stick, I knew it was time to begin hammering the tough whip of love, spoiling the rod. Destination next. Red Rocket whatever. I adopted a dog, tried sending him home, but couldn't remember how to. Then my past traumas unearthed themselves, like that picture of Duck Trio where you can see what lies hidden underground.
Ah, I love therapy.
Later down the road, I figured out how to send dog meat away, and began making my way to Museum of Freedom, eager to exercise with my new stick. Inside, I'd usually focus on defeating all the roughhousing ruffians first, because I wouldn't want Preston stealing any of my experience. But wizened from previous challenges, I now know that's not going to happen. I sat there, unmoving, like a desk lamp, for about more than my patience could handle. So I took my time wrangling with the most difficult foe in Fallout 4, and I mean this specific terminal. Cool. And got stuck, trying to hack the computer. I've had it happen to me on this specific spot in the past too. Wish I remembered it. Oi jumaliste. It just works. I beat up rest of the dirty dogs inside and asked questions never. After reaching Preston and his gullible group, I tried giving full aggressive answers to him and Sturgis, which resulted in me getting mugged for being old.
But you need to shake off the cobwebs and smell the cordite.
Back outside, like the angels of old, I descended from the roof and dislocated my hip.
For goodness sake, this is not cool.
Like everyone in my generation, I relieved my anger by beating up children. But knowing I could do better, I released Barney the teenage mutant sewage lizard to help me educate the miscreants. I played tag around the car with the oversized gecko, while occasionally giving him some love taps on the nose with the walking cane part of my walking cane. And this fun lasted until my scaly edutainment mascot needed a nap. While meeting Preston and his sorry short, Mama Murphy referenced Dark Souls 1 to me.
Your son's out there.
A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
On my way to Dump Diner, I pumped my load into a trash can, taught Wolfgang a lesson he won't forget, and stuffed Trudy with what was left in my sacks. From there, I waddled back to Square 2 and told Preston Sanctuary isn't the place for retirement.
This isn't a home.
He then asked me, an unqualified old man, to help Sturgis, the mechanic, to build stuff in Sanctuary, while slipping in a settlement quest, where I'd get to wipe more butts.
Young people these days can't get anything done by themselves.
Good deal.
After helping Sturge with his competency issues, I picked the solar-powered perk, which grants me increased strength and endurance between the hours of 6 AM and 6 PM, and that goes neck to neck with my old person's sleeping schedule. Later I was on my way to Tenbines Bluff, but stopped by USAF just to teach everyone in proximity a lesson. Everyone outside felt my wrath in their butts. My rampage continued inside. I might be an old man, but after witnessing such justice being delivered unto these hoodlums, by yours truly, even Hercules wouldn't be able to bring down my excitement right now. The biggest hiccup was the realization that miniguns freaking hurt, but after some tough whiplash of love, just like the insides of a felt slipper factory, it became very quiet. From there, I played with some puppers and reached Tenbines Bluff. The locals were very welcoming and sent me to Corvega's ass to deal with some raideroids or hemorrhaiders. You get the point. Once inside, I beat every fanny within the building red, which is fitting for this place. It was the first time in the history of my 650 hours of gameplay that I didn't get lost in this concrete cake. I happened to choose the correct route every which way I turned. I was so exhilarated I didn't even feel the arthritis in my wrist.
Yeah!
Before meeting Jared the head maid, I did get a reminder how flammable things explode. On the second round, I wiped the floor with them. It was about time somebody cleaned up around there.
In the bosom of the Corsair Queen. Is this what the youngsters read these days?
I felt my rage reaffirmed, sensing walloping in the horizon.
I hope you learned your lesson, young man.
Back at Sanctuary, after telling Preston of a settlement well rescued, he tried to sell me his story. I said no. He tried forcing me to listen anyway.
Just hear me out. This is important.
I used my tactical backpedaling move. It worked like a charm, and I set sail towards Diamond City. I stopped by Abe's Odyssey on the way to drop a locket I found earlier at USAF. Because I did it before they asked help, they didn't pledge themselves to the Minutemen. I considered this double dipping in victory. Next I decided to happen at Amphitheather, because I genuinely forgot what these folks are all about.
Tell me something. You ever feel like this whole world is broken?
Yes, and it's because of young people.
I followed Brother Unimportant to his office, where he tried to convince me out of my banking details and asked for remote access into my PC, attempting to con me into joining their cult. They didn't know yet that they didn't want to get stuck with me here, because I don't play by the rules. I'm a wild card. A loose cannon, which is a fancy way of saying that I'm incompetent.
And that was the last time you tried scamming old people.
Next, I got distracted by hubris comics. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's interrupting my own train of thought. Within its relatably decrepit exterior, I got assaulted by a swarm of ghouls. Very annoying to deal with when playing melee. Your attacks get interrupted all the time, almost profanity-worthy.
Gosh darn it, you young whippersnappers. What the muckers?
The glowing specimen inside didn't much care about me trying to beat it into oblivion. I guess he didn't believe in physicals, but I didn't let that ruin my day. I'm a man, I'll ruin it myself. So I went ahead and picked up the Silver Shroud costume, which turned out to be a huge annoyance further down the line. I'll explain later.
You might think getting beat up by ghouls gets boring after a while. And you'd be right!
I beat up a raider nearby simply because he was there, and I was nearby, coming out on the other end stronger, with a reminder how rooted old people are in their ways. Close to Diamond City, on a car graveyard, I got almost stunlocked to death by an overexcited puppy. Did you know melee is pretty awful in Fallout 4? Use watts to make it bearable. After boobing a dog on the nose with the newspaper, I arrived at Diamond City, finding Piper holding up the line for everyone, complaining like a middle-aged, entitled lady at a minimum wage worker. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I hammered that lesson into her, and she saw the error of her ways. Inside, I traded my stuff into cabs, bought another walking cane just because, agreed to pick flowers for Solomon, told Mo I'd bring him the relics he wanted, decided to help Abbott get his paint, promised Dr. Dog I'd bring her a bloodfly bladder, and helped young Mr. Clean pick up something from the top shelf. After that, I talked to Ellie and got a word that a Nick Valentine needed help. Ignored whatever this was, went to hear an apology from Piper, and just spammed buttons on my controller until she stopped talking. Piper offered to join me, and after not considering it, I left without uttering a word. Closest item on the list was paint for Abbott. There was a lady screaming outside the store.
Deal with your own issues, young one.
In the store, I made the paint mix and set on my warpath to educate the ruffians ruminating inside. A raider died before my strike connected. Probably a heart attack, I don't know.
Young ones today don't amount to much.
Demo agreed and prostrated in order to apologize. Remember kids, working out is important. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the kawaii and the uwu which his body is capable. Out and about, I stopped to pick flowers for Solomon, sat down at some ruin for a quick rest, visited Wasting Estate for baseball relics, and got chased out by angry parents after educating their children.
Kids these days have it way too easy. I was born before sliced bread. If I wanted to eat bread, I had to eat the whole loaf on the spot. It was pandemonium.
Back in the Diamond Village, I returned all the quests for easy experience, except for the science lady. I would have had to visit Sanctuary for the bladder, and that would have been like a whole thing. I befriended Abbott, helping him paint the wall, while trash-talking the incompetent youngsters who are missing out on the chance to help the elderly right now.
Ah yes, the blood.
Once inside the Park Street station, on my way to eliminate Nick from my to-do list, I carved a path through the triggermen. While tough, this was pretty nice compared to my previous challenge, like walking on burning coals, so not as bad. Deeper into the vault, I played a father figure for Dino and found the lost kid I was looking for.
Does smoking even do anything to you?
On our way out, Skinny Malone and his gang splattered beautifully around the vault entrance. If only we were outside, they'd be fertilizer. In other words, finally useful for something.
Nicky, my boy, she's all yours.
So much for Skinny Malone.
For the record, I didn't do any damage to this young lady.
Before leaving, my bucket of bolts for companion stopped on his track for no adequately explored reason.
Nick started lacking for whatever reason.
Remember that Silver Shroud costume I picked up earlier? It's okay if you don't. I'll explain anyway. It's a quest item. It can't be removed from my inventory until I complete the quest and get the cashier to remove the ink tag. Now it's going to weigh me down forever.
Oh wow, how fun.
Back at Defective Agent G, I returned Nick back to his mom, who just kept staring at us in disbelief without saying anything. It was pretty awkward.
Young people today lack social skills. Pathetic.
After enduring my joint screaming from sitting down, I gave the young man a stern talking to, telling him how running away from home like that is very, very bad. He told me about a guy who bullied him so hard he wanted to run away from the village. I knew then where my child raising skills were needed next, and enjoyed another rousing round of getting up the chair. Before leaving to distribute bonks of justice, I talked to Mayor's secretary, rented a home for $250, saw Nick trying to enter my new home without permission. Boys will be boys, am I right?
I forgot to pick up the key. Fiddlesticks. Well, this is embarrassing.
I spinned out of frustration in the elevator.
Are you one of those iPhones?
As my dog was coming over to our new home, I accidentally said walk near him, and oh boy, did my old knees get some action. Upon leveling up, I picked Aqua Boy. Swimming's a good activity, easy on your aching joints. While on our walk, we met with a small youth gang outside, who started raining rockets on us. Those darned rascals.
No respect for their elders. Freaking 3 missile launchers? Really? I got the message.
That didn't happen. While on our walk, I spent every fiber on my being to keep up with my dog. It didn't make me feel any younger.
Effort noises. I've only had 6 heart attacks so far.
After spotting some butterflies, I entered the home of that bully, who made the life of my young metal escapee friend a living heck. He had an unhealthy obsession with dolls, figurines and mannequins. I don't understand a hobby like that, so I broke them all.
Hey,
Oh wow, the game's not allowing me to send him back home. I guess I'll have you stay here
how
then.
you doing?
Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. While heading towards the basement, where this cave-dwelling miscreant lived, I spectated a disco ball malfunction, had a nice nap in the middle of my crusade, and stopped to ponder why the ceiling light I just whacked turned invisible after I broke it.
Darn those kids and their confusing new technology. It makes me angry.
Upon reaching the target to be penalized, he tried to weasel his way out of the situation with words. Joke's on him, my hearing aid wasn't on.
What?
Words of evildoers fall to deaf ears with me.
What?
Literally.
What?
Next, he pretended to be Phantom of the Opera or something, because I kept swatting the air, and the air kept screaming. Even I could hear those whimpers.
When life gives you lemons, get your eyes checked.
Back outside, I spectated Brotherhood of Steal joyriding their new extravagant toy, which they no doubt hijacked from someone else. They are notorious for their technology-thieving ways. That's why they literally have Steal in their gang name.
I'll deal with you guys later.
Back at Diamond City, I finally returned that gland for Professor What is Conditioner and zoomed all the way to Cambridge Police Station to help a man of the cloth survive an assault by some menacing ruffians with bad skin. While making sure everyone got what they were asking for, I witnessed a body disappear in front of me.
Did I just imagine it? Was it even real? I like pudding.
After that, I agreed with this mighty paladin to rain punishment upon a nearby gang of ne'er-do-wells. Youngsters need the fear of God beaten back into them. Of course, not a day goes by without someone berating me for my old age.
Follow me, and try not to lag behind.
I get it. I'm old. Jeez.
On our way to the gang hideout, we witnessed another group conduct evil on some honest, hard-working folks. I went crazy on them, like a wet sack of ferrets.
I'll show you my generation can destroy more than just the economy.
In the hideout, we gave them such a spanking. It was of the bad kind, which can be good if you're into that sort of thing, but it was bad.
Dak nabbit.
After raining hellfire on them, my clerky companion invited me to join the Brotherhood of Steal.
Oh, such betrayal.
This certainly wasn't helping the fact that I haven't experienced much positive emotions since the accident, being conceived. Even after confiscating his gun, I didn't know what to do with myself, so I went to a graveyard in order to calm down and beat up a group of Satanists to pump the rage out of me. I have never reached Good Neighbor this fast, didn't get lost this time around. Right at the gate, another scammer was waiting to try and strike at my retirement funds. I slapped him so hard, another old-timer heard it and came over to thank me for a job well done. Later that day, I took Nick to visit the doctor, because his mom was busy, and I was mesmerized by the acupuncture procedure.
I don't really believe in this voodoo, but it looks convincing.
After saying goodbye to the doctor, I set off to the glowing sea to meet Virgil. On my way there, I beat up a Deathclaw to lay his foolish ambitions to rest. Tried running away from rat scorpions, cause when you're already irradiated, would you like to be poisoned too? I tried ignoring the septic suckers on the way, but the radical scorpions following me decided to turn most of the camp into hashtags. They used tactics I've never even considered.
I think he's the last one left.
After that, I stopped to swat some flies, ignored Virgil's pet lizard, have a good talk with the friendly green face, and was off to find me a Corsa chip. Gunners inside Green Tech were nothing special. Guns hurt. It turns out I had to keep chapping myself to stay alive, but it wasn't too difficult. I taught one of them a lesson, using my awesome mental mind powers. Just like how birds fly, I can hit things outside my reach with the power of my anger alone. Stumbling upon the chip container, I decided to see what happens. If I kill the hostages first, he didn't appreciate that. Once again, there was an anomaly of hot air vibrating in front of me. I kept slapping it, and it kept screaming.
Thank you. I don't know what to say.
I then delicately powered down the lady android. I don't leave loose ends. Back at the doctor's office, I got a hip replacement installed. That was pretty cool. And got sent to decode my USB stick at the railroad. I ignored Freedom Trail, had some ghouls smitten inside the old church, suffered through Desdemona.
If you're trying to get into my will, you better hurry up. I could drop dead any second, with any luck.
And I got the chip on my shoulder inspected. After that, Virgil scribbled down his grocery list on a napkin for me. I sailed back to Sanctuary to ask the Minutemen for help, and had my conversation interrupted by the issues I ignored earlier.
My old nemesis, the consequences of my choices. How could this have happened?
Before I could start working on the plans, I had to adopt Preston
Okay. I'll do it.
Good.
and accept a settlement quest. What happened next will remain between me and Sturgis, but let's just say that after some blood, sweat and tears, and a dash of screaming, I got my teleporter built. I faxed myself over to the Institute. During my stay there, I bonded with a fellow old-timer over our mutual hatred of young people, and agreed that children should be kept in cages for their own good. He then asked me if I wanted to punish the Commonwealth's delinquents together.
Yes, that's what I want.
I know.
I then hobbled around the facility to meet with the department heads. This part always makes me want to go get some drinks to help tolerate the boredom. For my next quest, I agreed to haul this beautiful temple that is my body over to Libertalia to put an end to a menace, a raider gang. I spoke to a mechanical boy, promising him someday he will be a real boy. Skipped most of the quest by swimming straight to the biggest bad boat, and witnessed a raider nail a vertibird with his fat man.
Nice shot, lad.
He also shot me in the face with it, but I was too angry to care.
I'm old and I hold a stick. That automatically makes me the wisest person here. I know there's only like 5 people here, but only one of them is old and holding a stick. Guess who it is? It's me.
With my solid argument, the leader of the raiders became incredibly docile and agreed to live with us to be re-educated and disciplined. To initiate the next part of the story, I fast traveled to Bunkerhill, which I had discovered in advance, sprinting over to the boy bot as fast as I could, and I still got sassed for being too slow.
When my TV misbehaves, I will beat it until it works.
On my way around the battlefield and inside the bunker, I beat up all the railroad people I could see, really educating them as thanks for helping me earlier. The Corsa with me was worthless as always.
Tut, young people these days. No endurance whatsoever. Just sitting there, while the elderly work.
I gave the basement dwellers a stern talking to, and sent them to the Institute's reprogramming camp, together with the useless USB stick holder.
Leave no survivors.
Next, I inserted myself into the lives of some subpar mutants, leaving them undoubtedly better off than before, while floundering through CIT Ruins, to chat about the good old times with my light-reflecting friend.
Tough times don't last, neither do young people.
After that, I attended a meeting, where my friend told everyone something we already knew. He's dying. I was later told we were in there about 6 hours. And no, I wasn't listening. I just stood there, motionless, quietly breathing. There were gecko skewers quietly spinning over a fire in my head. I don't know what these crackpots were talking about, but my friend did check occasionally if I was still alive. From the meeting into the mass fusion, Ali and I began working our way down from the roof while whipping Brotherhood of Steal gangsters into gear. In all honesty, trying to crack through the power armors with a stick is like trying to open up a tin can with a blade of grass, but armed with stubbornness, I kept undressing the self-appointed knights.
Even after all that beating, he still found a way to disappoint me.
I got stuck in the elevator for a while, trying to figure out how to make it move. This was a puzzle roughly on my level.
Ah, this is it. Booyah! I don't get it. What's wrong with just using keys?
The write-down was a reminder how much fun it is to be a fish in a barrel, while some wackos are unloading their guns at you. The perks of being melee only. Closer to the ground level, I learned that these heavy idiots come equipped with nuclear physicist perks, and got my face cooked by an exploding fusion core. Down in the labs, I had to make 2 trips into the radiation room.
Please close. Oh, not even close.
Just to get the thingamajig, because Rad Meds did freak all in there. Before I could leave, I came face to face with a glowing Assaultron kisser, and I learned my lesson. Don't do that. On round 2, as predicted, the security came over to hand me my one-way ticket to an unpleasant evening, and I found a hazmat suit in the same room where my facial features got vaporized. Probably could have helped earlier. Preparing for incoming emotional assault, I stuffed my face full with Vicodins, strategically turned the Securitrons and other assorted riffraff into scrap, and returned to the Institute to turn in my quest.
Just another day in someone else's office.
My next quest sent me to a house where I had to beat justice into some gunners. I didn't really pay attention why I was there, but I'm always ready to throw down. After banishing them to the Shadow Realm, I found myself screaming at a bathroom door until my colleagues finally got the message that I have no charisma.
In all honesty, I tried telling them.
Back at the Institute, I was tasked to deliver a speech with my negative charisma.
What the fudge did you just heckin' say about me, you little biscuit? 300 confirmed hugs. I am trained in guerrilla warfare, and I'm the top, and you will swim in it. You're freaking dead, kiddos.
Well, that was interesting.
I hope they learned their lessons.
But it will certainly get your point across.
From there, I put the lasagna in the oven, sat through another boring meeting, and it was time to beat down some unfinished business. Included but not limited to, I sent all in the Railroad HQ on vacation to a farm upstate and bought the best armors I could afford at the Institute. These protective wrappings really carried me through the next bit.
Brotherhood of Steal. I hope you clowns in a can are ready to get your fannies beaten red.
This quest is usually such a massive pain in the behind as a melee build. These scanned dogs have astonishing amounts of firepower, and let me tell you, getting stunned by punches while rest of the battalion is shooting at you isn't very pleasant. But with the power of Vicodin, my protective gear, and sheer unadulterated stubbornness, I managed to spank the troops standing in my way, destroying their generators for good measure. Upon reaching the massive action figure, I beat a cripple with my stick.
He fell.
Prevented anyone from ruining the romantic union of the 2 robots.
I don't like breaking traditions, so I'll settle with your face.
And watched Elder Maction fall off the roof and then blow up alone down somewhere. After my android friend was done injecting its genetic material into Liberty Prime, it passed out. We've all been there, right? Well, the menacing transformer was looking at the blimp. I got teleported out from the blast zone, watched over-glorified balloon crash into the airport, and this is how I beat up Fallout 4 with a walking stick, while still carrying the Silver Shroud costume in my inventory. And that's it for this time, folks. I have now completed 2 challenges back to back, without the game crashing once. I'm going to get a lottery ticket. Do the engagement things to help me out. Tell me in the comments what I could have done better, or if you have any other challenges/games for me to play. Thanks for watching, see you next time, take care now, bye bye then.